Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. Jay's just texting.
Sorry, I'm not.
Well, you are.
I was, but it was
not.
a semi-emergency.
Was it?
Yeah.
I've not had one of them for a while. We are here today with the Paddock Podcast, just giving a bit back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I like that.
Helping out. Not helping out really, but we're just looking at some of the players who have been done wrong, who have been hurt, who have been unfairly treated.
Yeah.
Because this happens, doesn't it?
Practically everyone in it at some point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you know what I mean?
What happens is a player can have a bad game, or not even a bad game, just to sort of miss a shot. And then all of a sudden, all of social media is telling you how crap they are.
Yeah.
And it's an absolute joke. Jay, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that the sort of, especially with the younger players, this is sort of reared its head again on it with the whole Garnacho thing.
Yeah.
And it's made us take a little bit of a look, a deeper look, shall we say, into what's, how often this happens and what's gone on. And we've seen it in the past with players. And I think that what always sort of amazes me about this is how quickly it can change.
Yeah.
Like a few months ago, people would have said, for example, Facundo Palestre, no good, get rid. He has a decent cameo and everyone loves him. Yeah. You've had Ante Elanga, who I admit is probably not going to be good enough for Manchester United.
Yeah.
But the stick he gets.
I know.
And this is a kid who was thrown in at the deep end under the dark days of Ralph Radnick era.
Yeah.
And was almost ruined. It's not his fault. He was trying his best. But people get, like, not just he's not good enough, which is what I've just said, but hammering him, abusing him, all sorts of grief. And you think, he doesn't deserve that.
No.
If he's not at the levels he needs to be. Plus, he's only 20, he's still opportunities. Jesse Lingard didn't make his debut until he was 23. So it just sometimes it makes you think, should we just take a step back a bit?
Yeah.
I remember Steve always saying about academy players, whilst he was still in the academy, he said he wouldn't criticise them. Remember, he made that decision halfway through his early doors of his channel. He said, I'm not criticise. I'm not gonna lay into him.
No.
I'm not gonna if they have a bad game, whatever. I'll say they didn't have the best game, but I'm not gonna be critical because they're still learning the craft. And also, I think Steve was one of the first people to be aware of the fact that these youngsters watch him and watch us and engage with it. We saw it with Garnacho engaging with some of the stuff on social media. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say you can't say someone's had a bad game. I've just said I don't think Ante Elanga might not be good enough. Yeah. But what I wouldn't say is Ante Elanga can fuck off. Ante Elanga is a dickhead. No. Ante Elanga needs to get the fuck out of my club. I would never say that because A, it's ridiculous, and B, it's overly harsh. Yeah. And I think that's what happens. You get this sort of people taking it one step further than just criticising a player's performance or even just saying whether he's good enough or not and getting really personal and horrible. Yeah. I don't get it with youngsters. No. Because it's like, how is that helping them or Manchester United? Ultimately, you want them to play for Manchester, either play well for Manchester United, or you want, if they're not good enough, them to move on and I do anyway, do well elsewhere. Because I don't hate on academy graduates. Yeah, some people it's just like let's hammer him, let's get personal. So with Marcus last season, form fell off a cliff. I'll be the first to admit that. Wasn't great. Some of the abuse he was getting was ridiculous. And now you look at it, and he's arguably the best attacker on the planet right now. Yeah. In terms of his numbers,
I don't think it's arguable.
No, he is.
He's the best.
People go Haaland, but post World Cup, he's scored more goals than Haaland.
And the whole thing is embarrassing for so many reasons. Like we said the other day, I thought Garnacho was quite wasteful against Leeds at home. Yeah. And we said he had a game like an 18-year-old. He looked like an 18-year-old where he was a bit wasteful. He didn't seem to have the sort of the knowledge and the know-how to get past Ayling and to do the job that we wanted him to do. But that's as far as it goes. Do you know what I mean? That's all you say because, firstly, he's an 18-year-old. He's almost a child. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're criticising and getting personal with someone that is, in a position where their career is still in its infancy. And the other thing is, it just makes you look a knob. Even if you just think of it, if you forget the fact, well, they shouldn't be playing for United if they can't look at it, whatever. If that's your viewpoint of if they're playing for United, if they're old enough, they're ready to get criticised. I get the
criticism thing. I think they should be able to handle criticism. I agree with that.
But the personal stuff, what I mean is, if some people think that they have a right to slag off players
when it's
and get personal and starts being overly critical after one or two bad performances. The other thing is, even if you don't care about how that makes someone else feel, which you should, you just look a dickhead when it backfires. Yeah. Like, imagine you were someone that slagged off Marcus Rashford last season and said we should get rid of him more. I was on, doing little phone-ins on radio shows and bits and bobs, and speaking to people obviously not from Paddock, who people would say to me, would you accept an offer from PSG? Would you want Rashford to go? How much would we get for him and all that? And you think, well, first of all, if we were ever to sell him, I'm looking at minimum 80 million.
And you'd have got slayed.
Like, that was even last season.
You'd have probably got slayed a lot of the people from that.
But then now, imagine if you'd have said, get rid of him, he's rubbish, he's never going to come back, and you watch him now going, I'm an idiot. And you can't help but like one bad season, and all of a sudden someone's got to go. When he's one of the few sort of bright lights in the squad, someone who is an actual Manchester United fan, who is a great person off the pitch, who has been scintillating and brilliant for 4 of the 5 seasons of his career, all of a sudden he has a few bad months following an injury and no pre-season and playing as many games as anyone over the last 2 years, and now you're willing to sell him. I just think it's ridiculous. And the same with Garnacho now.
Yeah.
He could easily, because this is just how it goes with academy players, he could easily play 50 times for United and go to Luton, because that's just what football is. But you don't gain anything by predicting that, by slagging him off early, by saying he's shit, get rid, what we doing, this guy's a joke, whatever. That doesn't help anyone. It doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make him him play better. It doesn't make the club get rid of him any quicker. Like, it helps nothing, and it might really hurt people, because once the sort of the sort of social snowball starts rolling, like you see it players like McTominay, Maguire, obviously, and these are older players who are more able to take criticism or whatever, but it can really influence the narrative around a player. Like someone like Phil Jones, or for example, who has probably had the lowest percentage of positive things said about him of any United player over the last few years. Because even though Maguire's had more abuse, he's had a lot of people defending him as well. No one is really defending Phil Jones. If you're someone like him, that is probably terrible for your mental health, isn't it? Like, and I don't think it should be allowed, and it should be perpetuated that you just go on social media, say someone's a dickhead, stealing a wage, selfish, not fit to wear the shirt and all that. I just think it's helping no one. It's certainly not helping them play better for Manchester United. And you might genuinely cause harm to someone if these sort of overall snowballs start building, and that's the only way someone speaks about people.
Yeah,
I mean,
for some of the more seasoned professionals, I think it's a different thing.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but it's not nice when people get an abuse. I get that, and I don't think you should ever do that. I think you can criticise players' performances and whatnot, like we said. But especially when it's youngsters, and what amazes me about this stuff is when it's kids doing it. Like, say you've got a 14-year-old who's on the internet and he's doing that, you think he don't know any better himself. Like, if he's calling, Garnacho or Elanga a knobhead or whatever, and saying, fuck off, you shit and all this, you think, all right, it's a kid slagging off another kid. I get that.
Yeah.
When you got like middle-aged men, and you think, have you never been 18? Try to do a job. Like, when I was 18, I was doing bloody cleaning cars in a probation centre.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's part of my community service. So it's not like I was a shining example when I was 18 years old. This kid's in the United team with all that pressure that goes with it. You just think to yourself, that must take a lot out of you anyway.
Yeah.
He's done magnificently well. We're going to talk about Garnacho.
Yeah.
Helped win us the FA Youth Cup. We don't win that FA Youth Cup without him. No. We just don't. He was great in the run-up to the final. He was great in the final. Yeah? So forget that. You can wipe that from the record without him. He definitely played his part. Comes into the team. You've not got the winner against Fulham. Yeah. He tore Aston Villa, I think, in the Carabao new one. At Old Trafford was a Carabao, wasn't it? Yeah. Like, he's contributed. Yeah, even before the Leeds game. So you're looking at it, you're going, here's a player that's done things for United and he's only 18. And yet you're going to hammer him. And it's not just him. Ilanga's another one. Ilanga's got pelters recently.
Yeah.
And I get he's probably not the levels he needs to be to play for Manchester United. He probably isn't. I would be surprised if he ends up playing more than 100 games for United. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he has a good career with us. But I'm not quite sure. But it's the type of abuse he gets. He gets hammered. And it's like people treat it as though he's doing it on purpose. Like, this guy's... I remember last season after the Madrid game, we scored the equaliser, people were falling over themselves backwards to sing Rhythm is a Dancer. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was echoing from everywhere. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And now it's like, oh, he's shit, he's fucking it. And I think there's levels, man. Like everything, it's not just black and white, there are levels to it. And you can question someone's ability, question the level of performances, criticise them, not saying you're robots, we're not MUTV. Of course you can criticise a player, but when you start getting personal, and when you start coming out with just stupidness, you're threatening them. I've seen people threatening players.
Especially when you're talking about a teenager.
Yeah.
You just think it's not...
get a grip. Yeah. Like, it's not nice and it's not okay.
Yeah. You're going from being someone who's in school like day to day, to 2 years later being one of the most high pressure situations a human can be in.
Yeah.
Elite sport, playing for Manchester United. Like Garnacho 2 years ago was doing his GCSEs. Do you know what I mean? And now he's meant to be leading the line for Manchester United in what is currently the second best team in England. Like it's a big jump. It's a lot to deal with without people who don't know you, who clearly don't know anything about football, saying that you're shit because for 3 or 4 games you haven't scored. Like let's sort of have a look back a little bit at some players who have had this sort of criticism in the past and gone on to sort of stick the fingers up. So the obvious and best example is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, because people forget, I remember when he made his debut against Bolton, and he was magnificent. He really was. One of the best debuts I've ever seen. It's not the best. I think there's Wayne Rooney will have something to say about that. But came on, absolutely tore Ricardo Gardner a new one. Got the crowd going. It was just joyous to watch. But then he struggled. He struggled with the physicality. He had this reputation of just doing one step over too many constantly. I think it was at Goodison Park where I think he beat the fullback and then carried on doing step overs, and then he got cut up again and tackled.
He forgot he was meant to do something like that.
And everyone was going mad. Now, had social media been a thing then, he would have got hammered.
Yeah,
he was getting criticism from the terraces and on forums or whatever. So there's no doubt he would have been all over Twitter. But he kind of turned it around a little bit. Mm-hmm. He kind of did all right in his career.
He did okay in the end, I think. If you Google him, you can find a few old clips.
I know he ended up leaving United, didn't he?
I think he plays in.
He didn't stay. We got rid of him in the late noughties, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sold him to some Spanish team. I forget.
Like similar story to sort of Bebe, I think.
Yeah, he went to Spain. Did all right though. Rejuvenated himself.
Yeah.
After a disappointing time at Old Trafford.
You might not know this. He was actually in the squad, the Portugal squad that won the Euros in 2016 as well. He was actually one of those like funny sort of pub quiz questions. Yeah, he was actually in the squad.
Because right.
Yeah,
I know. And I remember watching that. I thought I might have seen him.
Yeah,
with moths
he didn't
on
play.
His head.
Obviously, he didn't get started. He didn't play in the final because I think the manager didn't pick him or something. But he had a decent career in the end. Which again, why we're just talking about the first. To be honest, the first season in England, he got 4 goals, 4 assists in 29 Premier League appearances, which is something, but not. Amazing. And he used to get so much stick. Pundits didn't like him. There was a lot of, obviously, opposition fans who didn't like him because he had his sort of streaks in his curly hair and he was doing step overs and he was everything that certain people would consider was wrong with modern football. People actually enjoying themselves. Football isn't meant to be fun and tricks. It's meant to be sludge, studs, and bad haircuts. That's what it's meant to be. Short back and sides and snap shin pads.
Do you remember the incident with Wayne Rooney? I remember a lot of United fans at the time, if it push came to shove, would have backed Rooney. Yeah. Not just the England thing. I think people thought
after the
World Cup when England and Portugal played each other and Rooney got sent off, and there was that winking incident, and everyone was turning on Ronnie. And I think there's a lot of United fans who would have gone, okay, Rooney's like more likely to have the better career. But then it was the next season that Ronnie exploded, didn't it? Yeah. We won the league in 2006, 2007. He scored a decent amount of goals, and then the following season, obviously, was stratospheric.
Yeah, I think 06, 07, he got 23 goals, 14 assists in all competitions. I mean,
come on. And you remember some of them goals. Remember the one against Fulham?
Yeah.
You could see this kid, he is gifted.
And then the season after that was obviously 42 goals, 8 assists as well.
It's all right, it's not too bad.
31 goals in 34 games in the Premier League and 7 assists on top. Fucking hell. But yeah, it's just the point in it that there's almost, you criticise people, say they've had a bad game, be frustrated even, but to rule people out and to sort of focus and target people for abuse who are teenagers or very young players coming through the team United, I can't see who it helps.
No.
It makes you look like a dickhead. It isn't making them play any better, and it could, like I said, if you get that sort of snowball of opinion going unfairly, it could make them play worse.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not going to make the club go, oh, this person on Twitter doesn't like Garnacho, so we should probably sell him.
Yeah.
Like, that isn't happening either. So what is the benefit to all this? There is none.
No, I get quite defensive, to be honest with you, about a lot of United players. It's sort of my default setting. Like, even some of the ones that I don't rate that highly. Yeah. I mean, you talk about the radio. I remember doing a radio show once when it was with, I think it might have been Talking Balls, and there was a City fan on.
Yeah.
And they started laying into Phil Jones. Hang on a minute, I'm not having this. Right. He's won as many European trophies as your club.
Yeah.
So, okay, it might not be great, but let's not pretend that...
Let's take a second.
Yeah. He's, like when Twitter did, what was it, name your player better than Phil Jones or something to single him out. And I just thought, why?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yes, I get he's having a stinking time of it, and he isn't good enough to play for Manchester United. We all know that. But he's still a professional footballer who's won some trophies and played, 30 times for England or something. Yeah. So let's not pretend he's the worst player ever.
No.
And it makes me laugh when it's like, you talk about all these things, especially on social media with these companies like mental health. Everyone's been bending over backwards, and rightly so, by the way, to stick up for Jadon Sancho and talk about his mental health. Yeah. Ryanair was it tweeting things like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll send you a flight somewhere," when he didn't make the World Cup squad. Well, they can fuck off. Because it's not funny, and it's unnecessary. There's a kid there who's going through a time of it, obviously devastated he's not going to the World Cup. And you think, oh yeah, let's try and sell some flights on the back of taking the piss out of him. Yeah. I mean, I get it if it's an individual, even though I don't agree with it, but these companies that do it, and then when it's Mental Health Awareness Week, they'll be tweeting hashtags.
Changing the colour of their profile picture and that, just whatever, whichever
and he's
way
obviously
the wind
someone
blows.
that was struggling. Yeah. And we've seen that, because he went away, Eric Ten Hag sent him away, didn't he? Yeah. It wasn't physical, he's just like,
14 weeks it's been since he started a game, until yesterday. Can we talk a bit about the weekend?
Of course we can,
because it's been another nice weekend, hasn't it?
Nice.
And I've got a little hot take for you.
Go on, I love your hot takes.
I'm glad that City won at the weekend.
You're the fucking dick.
Yeah, hear me out, Jay. Because Manchester City, as it stands, let me just get their results up, are in a position where, obviously, this is all centred around the fact that they play Arsenal on Wednesday. If they lost to Tottenham last week on Sunday, the 5th of February. They then played Villa at the weekend, 1-3-1. If they'd have gone into that Arsenal game, having lost to Tottenham, and then, let's say they drew or lost to Villa, I can't see a world where they would have beaten Arsenal. They wouldn't have had the confidence. They wouldn't have had that zip. They'd be too frail to beat Arsenal. Deep down, what we really need is Arsenal to start dropping points. Obviously, City dropping points is great. I'm glad they lost to Tottenham. But I think they needed that bit of confidence so they can at least get a draw with Arsenal. Yeah. If they'd have been going, they lost to Tottenham, they drew with Villa, and now you've got Arsenal away, they're losing that game. And Arsenal are staying that same distance away from us. I've got all my plates spinning here, Jay.
Why?
To
what end game?
Huh?
To what end game?
What do you mean?
Why would you want City to lose if you don't want Arsenal to win the league? What other reason have you got? The only reason I can think of you wanting City to win is you want City to win the league.
Or is there a second?
You tell me, brother. Are you whispering it quietly in your head? Are you? If you drank the Kool-Aid?
I've not drank any sort of Kool-Aid, Jay, but what I will say is this.
Go on.
We may have played 2 more games than them.
Yeah.
But let's not pretend that games, a point in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Okay.
I think it's probably worth 3 in the bush.
Right. Okay.
But we are 5 points off the top of the table.
Right.
And you've got people, as high-flying as Martin Keown saying that he's not ruling out Manchester United to overtake Arsenal at some point this season. Why would I be here to disagree with him? That's Talk Sport's very own Martin Keown, Jay. So we've got an authority on the topic.
Okay, I can't.
What I'm going to say to you right now is,
like you say, is the oracle when it comes to these things.
Newcastle are taking more D's than, fill in the blank.
Okay.
They're drawing every game at the minute. Tottenham have lost 3 of their last 6 games.
Tottenham, forget about them. Let's just forget about them.
Man United are currently 7 points ahead of Tottenham. We are 5 points ahead of Newcastle. They've got a game in hand, but they'll probably draw it. I'm not one for looking backwards, Jay.
Right, okay.
Because what's behind you? Fear.
Yeah.
The past.
Yeah.
Moyes.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I look forwards and I look upwards.
Okay.
So ahead of Manchester United, simply 2 points ahead of us. It's 2 points. Is that insurmountable, Jay?
No.
Right. No. Is Manchester City. And then I sort of glanced slightly further ahead. Only was it 5 points? That's a bad week.
Yeah.
Is Arsenal.
Yeah.
2 games in hand. But we don't need to mention the 2 games. What I'm saying is, Jay, let's look up. And if City and Arsenal were to draw, that goes to City would then be 3 points ahead of United, same games, not insurmountable, and Arsenal would be 6 points ahead of United with a game in hand.
Yeah,
that can be done.
I mean,
what are you thinking, Jay? Casemiro's had a rest.
I'll be honest with you. I hear you. I do.
Yes.
I just feel that.
Say it.
I feel like that week the Palace and Arsenal week was the nail in the coffin. I do. I think we can be in the conversation, and the irony is, I actually think we could finish second. I do. I can see a scenario where United finish second. You might say, well, why not finish? We will finish first. I just feel it's a little bit too far for us. And I think that I said this on the watch along before the game. I said this season, if we were to finish second, I think that stand us in good stead next season for a proper title challenge. Yeah. One where we don't give everyone a 6-point head start. One where we don't throw away silly points in games with just mistakes and injuries. We have a better squad, and we have a striker, no disrespect to Wout Weghorst, who's a title winning striker. Maybe you get one or two other players in other areas as well. Yeah. But I just feel like it's a little bit too far. I personally think Arsenal will tail off, and I think City will win the league. Unfortunately, it's going to do my head right in. Hopefully they'll probably get it took off them in a few years' time. But I think the Arsenal City games, I won't be surprised if City win them both. Honestly, I think Arsenal are flattered to deceive a little bit. I think City can grind out and get results when they need to. And I think the whole Guardiola, even though he can be a bit of a nana, he has got that experience. He has won 4 titles out of 6, whatever it is, 4 titles out of 5. He knows what he's doing. Arteta looks like he's been cracking up from day one. And also, a few months ago, right, Arsenal fans were telling us all this nonsense. Saliba's the best defender in the league. He's not, though, is he? He is. He's better than Varane. Well, he's not, though. No, he is. Now they've turned on him because he's been poor. Martinelli's the best left winger in the league. Yeah. Well, he's not, though, is he? He is. Now they've turned on him, and I mean proper turned on him. Now they want him dropped.
Is that true?
Yeah. So they've turned on these players that they thought were the best. Yeah. And now it's like, oh, well, actually, Gabriel's the best defender in the league. Well, he's not. Neither of you centre-backs are.
No.
And there's a reason behind that, because they're tailing off a bit. They're having a few wobbly ones. And I think it's not just one game. You can see it. Yeah. You saw it against Everton. You saw it the weekend against Brentford. People make a big deal about VAR and all that other stuff. Brentford had a perfectly good goal disallowed. Let's not forget that. Against Everton are right near the bottom. They got beat. Relative. I know it was a 1-0, but relatively comfortable.
That first half, Everton could have been 3-0.
Yeah. It wasn't like it was Arsenal just constantly bombarding the Everton goal, or Jordan Pickford had the game of his life. It was, Everton, I felt, deserved the win. So I just think the signs are there that it's not quite rosy. Also, City beat him in the cup as well, didn't they? Yeah. Which I know it's different because you rotate a little bit, but they're again as testament to City's squad.
Do you know what I like at the minute? And I noticed it when I went and did the overlap the other day. Check out.
You did a very good job on that,
Thank you very much.
I messaged you, but you didn't reply. You did a very, very good job.
That was with Jamie Carragher at the time.
Okay. No, I thought you spoke really well, and you handled, I'd struggle in that environment, I would, because my temper would get the better of me. I'd say things I regret. Do you know what I mean? Or I'd start getting personal on some of the other YouTubers. And as for you, I know all about you, yeah? Don't think I don't know. Does your missus know about you?
What you've been doing?
Hey? What are you on about? Never even spoke to you.
Pay and display.
Yeah.
Market Street.
So I'm going to say to you, so you did really well, because I thought you made a great case, if that's the right word, for Erik ten Hag, the success he's having, and how he's getting so many things right. And I loved what you said about the Spurs game as well, because I adored that game. It was one of my faves.
But the thing I noticed while we were there is, and this wasn't just from Neville and Carragher, this was just the vibe of the room. There was Bournemouth fans and Everton fans, like pretty much a fan from most clubs in the country. United are not a talking point. Good. United are going under the radar so much this season. Do you know, because we've been third the whole time, just driving nicely, and we've not had these massive ups and downs. I know obviously we started terribly, but we're past that. That's not in the news cycle anymore. For the last sort of 25 games this season, including cups and all that, United have pretty much been as good as anyone or thereabouts. And we're still there. We're still doing it. Every week, this gap that should be getting bigger and bigger to Arsenal is basically sort of stuck at around between 8 and 11 points, where it's been since the start of the season. We're just kind of, and then if they have a bubble, I like that it's not all eyes on United. If we were top of the league, we'd crumble, no doubt. I don't think we're going to win the league, I don't. But I think we could finish above either of City or Arsenal.
That's what I mean. I could see us finish second.
Yeah.
I really do. And for me, I think it'll be, again, unfortunately, because I'd probably rather Arsenal win the league than City. But I think City could get top. And I think Arsenal, if City do go top of the table at some point, I think Arsenal will just implode. I mean, I think you'll see something biblical from them lot. Yeah. Like fighting with each other on the pitch and Arteta getting arrested and just a complete and utter meltdown, the likes of which the Premier League has never seen before. Genuinely. Because I think as well there's a lack of leaders in that squad. Yeah. I think they've got like older guys, I think there's a captain. Zaka as well can be a bit of a leader. But other than that, there's quite a young squad. I think there's a few hotheads in there. They've already had a few kickoffs and stuff, haven't they, in games. So, and Arteta leads by example on that front. So I wouldn't be surprised if United did finish second. I just feel, you said it a few weeks ago. You said we need to go on this sort of winning run. Yeah. Like City and the Scousers a few years ago when they won the titles, they went on like 20-game winning runs. And that was like, that won you the title. And it felt like United needed something like that. And then the Palace draw and the Arsenal loss. Those 10 minutes at Sellers Park where Casemiro got suspended and we conceded that late goal. I think we might look back and go, we might end up even finishing like 5 points off the top and go, that was like Everton draw at home last season where you just went 2 seasons ago, where you went, that's the end of that. For me, the Arsenal loss, I felt, and listen, if I didn't, then certainly the Leeds draw at home. Yeah. And the sad thing is as well, 2-0 down at home to Leeds. If you'd have said to me, we're going to take 4 points out of this game and the next one, I'd have probably gone, okay, that's decent. But I think when you look back, you're going to go, we needed to beat them both times. So I hear you, and I'm not, dismissing it completely. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that United could do the unthinkable, but I just think it'll be next season that we're right in that mix. Yeah. I'd actually fancy us next season. Yeah. But if we get the right signings, I think with a proper pre-season, with Erik ten Hag having his squad settled, and if we can keep Marcus on the trajectory he's on, then I would fancy us next season. I feel like this season might be a bit too soon, though, especially with all the cup competitions as well. Because you can't just... He's going to play a strong team against Barcelona.
Well, let's move on to that then a little bit, because I'm not going to see you much this week.
I'm on my travels. That's what I was doing on my phone then when we went live. I was trying to sort out a ticket for Thursday. So, yeah, I'm going to be in Barcelona. I fly out on the Wednesday morning and I'm back Friday evening, so I'm not going to be here and I'm not here Saturday because it's the home game, Leicester game. So I'm not going to see you till Monday probably. I'll see you tomorrow and then I'll see you Monday.
What do you think? What are your predictions for that game? How do you expect us to line up? Not man for man, but what are you thinking that we're going to see in that?
Well, Sabitzer suspended in it, which is annoying. Yeah, I didn't realise that until yesterday afternoon because that sort of made mine predicted 11 for the Leeds game nonsensical because I was like, I think he might draw the rest of it in Barcelona and all that. So I think obviously Casemiro coming back in is massive. We're going to miss Martinez because he's suspended as well, I think. So you're missing 2 of your starting 11 there. Well, more if you actually think about Eriksen and Martial. So I do think it'll be difficult. I think we can get a draw there, though. I actually do. And I think we get a draw at the new camp, then we could do him at Old Trafford. Yeah, I think we could. If he went into Old Trafford level, I'd fancy us. Yeah. But
I don't think it will be level.
I just worry because they punish you, don't they? Yeah. If you like, you can make against Leeds. We made a few mistakes and we got away with it because it's Leeds. Yeah. And okay, you can say, well, Harry Maguire gave the ball away. He won't be playing against Barcelona. But we have made mistakes over the last few weeks. It's not just Harry Maguire.
And can I just tell you just how good Barcelona have been this season?
Go on.
So after the sort of hilarious spell at the start where they were just shocking in the Champions League for whatever reason, not even after that, during that, they've played 21 games in the league, won 18, drawn 2, lost 1, which is better than Arsenal, better than PSG, I think better than Bayern Munich as well. They've scored 43 goals in 21 games, which is more than anyone else in the competition. And guess how many goals they've conceded in 21 games?
21 games.
Just for reference, so let me just get the Premier League table up quickly. Just for reference, Manchester United have conceded 28 in that time. The best defence in the league, Newcastle, have conceded 13. So right, same games.
The top of their league, the Flying, I'll say 12.
7. They're conceding literally a goal every 3 games at the minute, which is unbelievable.
We conceded 6 after the first 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. We conceded 6 to City.
At the Etihad.
Yeah. So they are not just doing, they're doing all right to say it's Xavi and all that. They are completely destroying La Liga at the minute. Yeah. They're already 11 points clear of Real Madrid.
It's mad, isn't it? Because in the summer, me and you were talking and we're like, Barcelona all over the gaff. They've got all these issues around the money. No. Trying to sell De Jong and he won't leave. Memphis got to take a pay cut. Shipping out Aubameyang. Yeah. all sorts going on. They want to bring in Bernardo Silva and they can't afford him. It's like, what is going on at the new camp? And you look at it, and like you say, other than the poor showing in the Champions League, they're absolutely flying.
Yeah. Barcelona. Lewandowski's got 14 goals in La Liga this season. Obviously leading the way for him, and he's the top assister as well with 5. So he's the main man. But yeah, I think some people, not through any ignorance, just through a lack of knowledge or not paying attention the way that we have in the past, because I feel like it's just not as exciting La Liga now. The Messi Ronaldo era has ended for me. It's not. It just doesn't have that quite the same luster as it did. But if you haven't been paying attention, Barcelona are having the best season of anyone in Europe at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they're doing better than Napoli and everything. So yeah, it couldn't really be much.
It's not just that as well, because you've got those 2 games, which is obviously massive.
Yeah.
You've also got Leicester at the weekend, who've just battered Spurs.
Yeah.
So their tails are up, and that's again you're missing Casemiro because he's obviously suspended for the domestic games.
Yeah.
Then you've got a cup final as well later on this month.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere where you look at it and go, here's where you rest a load of players.
Yeah.
Here's where you play your reserves. You can't really do that. Every game is one where you think, we've got to try and win it. Now, you might look at the Barcelona game, you go, the Europa League, is that a priority? We're in a cup final, so in terms of silverware, the Carabao is probably the one where you put your eggs in that basket. But you don't want to go to the new camp and get battered.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you rest 1 or 2 players, you could do.
Yeah.
If you go, right, we ain't got Martinez anyway, we ain't got Sabitzer anyway, and also I'm going to drop Varane.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to drop...
We can't. I would play... I don't
know.
Would you play Shaw?
Rashford.
The centre-back?
I think he will.
Yeah.
I would, and I think he will. I think that's why Shaw started at left centre-back against Leeds. I think it was like, look, you're going to be playing there against Barcelona. Let's just get you...
I'd take a 1-goal deficit now.
And yeah, I mean...
I would.
I still fancy us for that. Old Trafford, up for it. This team of Eric Ten Hag as well. I think... I'm hoping that the Leeds game was almost like... The Leeds games were almost like a bit of a blip for us.
Yeah.
Because that especially the home one, it was pretty dreadful for large parts of it.
They did have that extra energy. New manager bounce is said a lot, but they did have that free from the shackles of what was before. I know they didn't have a new manager, but I still think you see that jump even when it's a caretaker like we saw under Ole.
Also, I feel like there was no pressure on Leeds because they've been battered at Old Trafford a couple of times.
Yeah.
It was like there's no like expectation there. You just go there, get at United, and do what you can. And I think United had that little bit of complacency as well.
Yeah.
There wasn't that urgency from United. It just felt like, even the beginning of the second half, where you think, right, he's had him in there for half time, they'll come out a different team. What happens? Leeds score straight away.
That was mad. Here? That was so ridiculous. That,
and it's now you've given them a 2-goal start.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that going into these games, he's got to sort of shuffle it a little bit, and maybe it's a blessing in disguise that say Casemiro suspended for the Leicester game, because that means he plays again, obviously the new camp, and then he comes back in for the cup final. Who else is there as well? Sabitzer suspended for the Barcelona game, so he comes back in for Leicester game. So there's some decisions that are made for him. Martinez as well is another one, but then he's got to make some. And also, we're not the only team like this, but we are so reliant on Marcus Rashford.
I know.
Like, if Marcus Rashford got injured now, I'd worry about top 4. And I genuinely would, because...
So you got like a 2-monther?
Yeah, because he is all our goals almost.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at who else he's scoring, it's like the odd goal from him there, the odd goal. Bruno away in with one. Weghorst I think he's got one. Garnacho's got a couple. Who
That's
else?
It.
And in the early doors he hasn't... I know he's been injured recently, but he hasn't since. Sancho's got a few goals, sorry. There's not anyone who's got a decent return where you go, oh yeah, he's amongst the goals, other than Marcus, who can't stop scoring.
It's mad, really, because United have scored 38 goals in the league this season. I think Rashford's got 12. I couldn't tell you where the other 26 have come from.
That amazes me. We've actually got another 26 to share around.
Because Bruno's got like 3, and that's it. No one else has scored a goal. Casemiro scored 2. Bruno scored 3. By my maths, we should have scored 15 goals this season. Do you know what I mean? Obviously not. I know Martinez got one, and
Martial's got about 4.
Martial's got a few.
Yeah.
But Sancho got a couple.
2 at the Etihad, didn't he?
But it genuinely feels like that, though, doesn't it? Like, well, Bruno's probably scored.
I think that's the thing. Everyone, like Anthony's got 3. Sancho, I think, has got 3.
Yeah.
Bruno's got, 3 or 4?
Yeah, I'll find out for you now.
Like, everyone, there's like about 6 players who've got 3 goals.
Yeah.
And then the odd 1 or 2 elsewhere. But that's the point. There's no one there who's doing like 7 or 8s. Who you can think, he's good for a goal every 3 games. There isn't anyone like that. It's just literally Marcus and hopefully someone else gets their monthly goal.
It's ridiculous.
You can't rely on that.
So far this season, this is, I think this is in all competitions. It is, yeah. Rashford's got 21 goals. Bruno's got 7 goals. Martial's got 6 goals, which is sort of, that don't feel right. It feels like he's got 3.
No.
Anthony's got 5. Casemiro's got 4. Fred's got 4. Jadon Sancho's got 4. Garnacho's got 4. But that's just saying, like, we've got a lot of players on, like, 3s and 4s and 5s, but then no one in double digits except Rashford on 21.
Yeah.
And
also, it's the types of goals he scores. I don't see anyone else getting him.
No.
Like
no one's scoring that goal yesterday.
Even Weghorst, who's a big lad, he's not really getting his head on much, is it?
Because he don't find the space. That's the thing with Rashford that he's changed so much, or one of the things he's changed so much is his position in the box is so much better.
Yeah.
And just those little, like, 1 or 2 step runs, not the ones where you're like running in and in behind and hand up, but like you're in the box, 1 step forward, a step back, the defender's just taken a single step away from you, but now because you've taken a step back as well, you've got 2 steps between you and you can put the head in.
Rooney was very good at that. He was underrated at that. Rooney, especially when Valencia was on fire, he was very good at that. And Marcus is now started to be a bit more savvy.
Yeah,
like you say, reading his line better as well. So yesterday, onside by an inch, but onside, that's what matters.
And almost onside for the second one as well. Yeah,
getting it right more often than not.
Did you see this?
The finish as well.
Sorry. Did you see this? The Weghorst goal disallowed. Did you see the alternate look at that?
Was there an issue about who it came off? Was that the thing?
So for those who didn't see, or if you did see,
because I think Joe brought it up on the watch along. He said that didn't come off a United player, or it might have been Ronnie. One of the two I was with mentioned that.
So Weghorst was stood in offside position, or he was past the last man.
Yeah.
Maguire and the Leeds player jumped up to win the ball, and it looked like Maguire nodded it down to Weghorst, who put it back and it was offside. If you watch it back, not only does Maguire not touch the ball, it's the Leeds player. It also comes off the Leeds player's arm.
Right.
So we have a goal disallowed because the Leeds defender handballs the ball in his own box. Not only do we not get a penalty, we also get the goal that we scored from that handball disallowed because he thinks it came off Maguire. Maguire didn't touch it at all. So it wasn't like an accidental contact by the Leeds player or a deflection or whatever, which means that you can still be offside. Maguire doesn't touch it.
There was issues, weren't there? I think they've got them all in, haven't they, the refs and the VAR people, for a meeting.
Well, on that, should we go to Wally of the Week?
Yeah, go on, because there was so many issues. The Arsenal one, I think there was like 2 offsides in it that they missed. There was the one you've just mentioned there, and I don't know. There must be others. I can't remember. I've not watched as much football this weekend, but there was a few where I think they've had a meeting. Is it PGMOL or whatever they're called? I've had a meeting to discuss the issues with VAR this weekend because, I mean, they're spending ages on it and getting it wrong.
I know.
And it just feels like this was meant to make football better.
Yeah.
And it isn't. And also, if a ref makes a mistake, you can go, right, made a mistake, you didn't see it. Or the linesman gets his offside slightly wrong and it's an inch. Either way, you can go, all right, it's human error.
Yeah.
But when it's analysed for 3 minutes, and they've got technology there shouldn't be any excuses for that. And I think it's taking away the excuses. And for me, just as a fan, it's killing the game.
Yeah.
It's killing the celebration.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And VAR is my Wall of the Week again. The PGMOL issuing a statement saying that they forgot to draw the lines on for the Ivan Toney goal.
I love that, though. I love that.
I'm going to say, when you say forgot to draw the lines on, sorry, that's the only job you have. Is the only thing you're meant to be doing is drawing the line. What were you doing? Oh, I was just passing out jelly babies. We just ordered a kebab and we were having that. Me and Lee Mason were just lowering ribbons of Donny.
That's like the guy on the Titanic.
What do you mean, what were you doing?
That's like the guy on the Titanic whose job was to look out for the iceberg and didn't look out for it.
Yeah.
Like,
what were you doing,
that's
boy?
What you're in that crow's nest for.
Yeah.
To look for it and you didn't.
Just jigsaw and that.
Like, what? Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Well, what were you doing instead?
Just stuff and that.
So we're going to do, glue this shit back together, are we?
Like, you've literally got one job.
Yeah.
That is the definition of it.
And my favourite thing about it is, and obviously I'm glad that it went the way it did for the Arsenal game, and luckily United were already 2-0 up by the time that we were destroyed by VAR. But I like it. It says that Brighton were incorrectly denied a goal, and the Brentford goal should have been ruled offside because of human error in the VAR room. I thought the whole reason we brought in VAR was to eliminate human error.
Do you know what I love about it as well?
But we had human error already. That was the thing we were getting rid of. Not just passing it to a van 40 miles away. Let's not have human error in the stadium. Let's have human error down the road instead, because that's better.
What I love about that, right, is Arsenal fans are already like in this thing of like City are in the mud with all these charges, and it made such a difference, and Arsenal trying to make out somehow that's affected them, even though I don't think they finished second once to say.
That's the equivalent of when we had 3 players go off with injuries against Liverpool, and Klopp said, we didn't beat them because they disrupted us with all their injuries. Yeah. That's like Arsenal fans going, well, all this City accusation is making it really hard for us to win games.
Do you remember the runner, Lindsay Sharp?
No.
Remember the controversy over Caster Semenya, whether she was a woman or not?
Yeah.
I remember Lindsay Sharp being interviewed after one of the races, saying like it's unfair and she's got this advantage and she'd come 9th. Yeah. Like even if Caster Semenya wasn't in that race, you come 8th.
You've done 8. And the other thing,
why are you getting involved?
The other thing that pisses me off with that is we go, she's got an advantage. Yeah, you've all got advantages. You're athletic as fuck. You can't just get some fat person who's never ran a day in their life, who is the least athletic person ever, put them on the start line and go, well, you lot should be disqualified because you've got an advantage over her.
There, eating a burger, smoking a fag, going, look at the state of me compared to these.
Yeah, she was at a disadvantage because she can't run. So you're all at an advantage. All athletics is born an inherited advantage. Yeah. This woman has more than you, so she beats you.
Yeah,
Shut up.
It was horrible, some of the discussion that was going around that.
It's not fair. Wayne Rooney's got an advantage over me. He's better at football than I am. Can we level the playing field, please?
Ronaldo's better than me, and it's unfair because he's dedicated his life to football, and I didn't.
He's got the advantage, the unfair advantage, may I add, of the mentality, physical body, and upbringing that allowed him to be a professional footballer. I don't have any of those. Disallow him.
That's what I mean.
But anyway, so yeah, VAR shit.
It was like that Arsenal wading into it. But they've got this sense of, somehow they've got this sense of injustice. And then going into these weekend's fixtures, City should be strict, we should be top of the league, they shouldn't even be here, and then this happens.
I know.
And he just sends him into meltdown.
Great.
You know, do you know what? I'll probably just have Arsenal fans as my Wally of the week. I know I usually get political now, but I just, you know what it is, right, with Arsenal fans? If you literally tweet, I've got a black dog, they'll tweet, we've got one that's blacker.
Yeah.
Like, they are obsessed with, they're the most important thing. Yeah. It's all about us. You can literally say anything. You could say, that was a good goal by Marcus Rashford.
And you go, what, are you trying to say he's better than Saka?
Yeah, Saka scored a better one the other week.
What are you about?
Like,
nothing to do with
what are you talking about? Yeah. This isn't anything to do with you. Sit this one out.
Ten Hag is an elite manager. Was better.
Arteta won the FA Cup in his first 6 months.
Right, okay.
Right,
interesting.
That's physically impossible for Ten Hag to do that. Yeah. Because he's not got there yet, but we're still in it. Yeah. And also, that's got nothing to do with the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
They are completely and utterly annoying and deluded. They're almost making me want City to beat him to the title. Almost, but not quite, because City fans can be insufferable. And also, can I actually have 2 Wally of the weeks? Am I allowed?
I'll allow it. You can have 2 halves.
2 halves. My other half.
Yeah.
City fans with flags for this lawyer that's representing him is the saddest thing I have ever seen in football. Seriously. When you go to the game and you've made a banner with a lawyer's name on it, you have lost the plot big time. That is... Don't ever tweet about the Scousers and their flags again when you're doing shit like that. It is unbelievable levels of cringe. Like he's some sort of summer signing. Like he's Erling Haaland.
We got a chance.
Panic on the streets of London, it said. Yeah. I was like, hey, what's that mean? Who's he? He's like, he's the lawyer representing us for all these 115 charges we've got levelled against us. What?
A centurion of charges. Isn't it interesting, though, Jay, that you've got a banner talking quite positively about Rudy Giuliani at your house?
I think that Rudy Giuliani was America's mayor, and he was the one we all deserved. And it's an absolute travesty that he became the figure of fun that he's now viewed as.
Can I just go through a few super chats very quickly?
Please do.
Matt G says, how much of the academy hate is Twitter fans just wanting new signings, shiny new toy?
I will say this. When we always seem to go into this debate of Twitter fans versus, shall we say, match going Reds for a better expression. I do feel that some youngsters do get grief at the game when I've been there. I do feel like Langer, for example, will get...
It's not just a Twitter
No,
thing.
It's not. I think he will get shouted at.
Yeah.
And he will get some comments that aren't nice.
Yeah.
So I won't just say, I think there is more of it on Twitter, and I think it's easier on Twitter to give someone grief because you're behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
But I'd be loath to say it is just people on Twitter. Unfortunately, I wish it was. I wish it was neither.
Pritesh with a good idea says, please get Rooney on the wall. Do you know the little mural behind you there?
Is he not there?
To that. There is no Wayne Rooney on it. We should do that. We should get him on there. Alex Bucket, because I think when that was made, he was still playing. So it's a bit weird having an Everton player on there, isn't it? As he was at the time. But now he's retired, so let's get him on there. Alex Buckingham says, people doing fancy things, wearing gloves, snoods, harumph, game's gone. I'm writing to my MP about this. I think that's Sean Dyche in the comments there.
I like the Sabitzer look of short sleeves and gloves.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's like it harks back to a sort of Fabian Barthez type look, doesn't it? Or like, Iker Casillas.
Yeah.
You know your short sleeve goalies?
Yeah.
I always liked a short sleeve goalie, actually.
Do you like Aaron Ramsdale?
No. only the Euro goalies. Not an English goalie.
Not an English goalie.
No,
Look at me.
No, I want Buffon. I'm talking your Casillas. I'm talking your Bartezes. Yeah?
Jorge Campos.
Your Victor Toldos.
Yes.
Is it Victor Toldo?
I don't know. I'll take your word for it.
Francesco Toldo.
Okay.
Pardon me. We've got another super chat. Jay and Joe's adopted son, Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin.
Hello, Benjamin.
Says, hey, Jay. Hey, Joe. Who do we need to buy and why? Keep it brief. Just pick some positions, please. You're allowed 3.
I'm on the Victor Osimhen bus, mate.
Fuck me.
He just... do you know what? I'm a simple man, me, Joe.
I've always said that.
Yeah, you have, and you've been very accurate. He scores good goals, and I like it.
He hits it really hard as well.
And I want to see United at Old Trafford. So, yeah, I would like to see him.
Can I just...
Can I shock you?
Can I shock you, Jay?
Yeah.
Victor Osimhen is the top scorer in Napoli. For Napoli, also the top scorer in Serie A this season. Do you know what I mean? He's creeping.
Yeah.
He's creeping. 17 goals, 3 assists in 18 games.
He just strikes me as the sort of player who you'd get behind.
Keep him fit. He'll be a world beater.
He's a bit of a fan's favourite, not just for goals, the type of goals he scored, the way he plays. He's physical when he needs to be. He's got a great touch and he can finish. So, yeah, I'd like to see him at United.
The wicked ski mask as well.
Yes.
Which is just cool, isn't it?
Love a bit of that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a big fan of that. What about you, my friend?
Get a striker in. Kane, Osimhen, whoever's easiest to get or whoever Ten Hag wants.
I just don't want us
we
to
need
go...
someone proper.
Yeah, don't go for this another inverted winger or a striker that doesn't score lots of goals.
No.
Just get a striker who can put the ball in the back of the net and lead the line.
Give me someone that on a good year could score 35 goals.
Yeah.
Because, not someone that on a good year gets you 25.
Yeah.
We need 20 minimum
it's mad,
season in, season out.
Marcus has probably broke through that ceiling now, hasn't
he? He could get 30 this
He
season.
wasn't. I said it about 3 months ago. It was an old top football talking to my brother and I was like, I think the thing with Marcus is I think he's got a ceiling of about 23, 24 goals and I'm wrong and I'm glad I'm wrong because I think he'll smash through that.
I'd love it if he got 30 this season.
It's just such a benchmark, isn't it?
30 is, in all competitions, 30 goals is, you are a top striker. You can't fluke that. You can't get that by accident. Like, if you're doing that for
you are up
there
with
level,
the Brian McClares of this world.
Couldn't say it better myself. Danny says, Arsenal fans are deluded and obnoxious. I'd rather City win it as they have no fans and we can asterisk it. just none. 0. I'd rather City win it as they have no fans and we can asterisk it as another cheated league when they get charged. Danny, with some just beautiful
that
phrase.
That is arguably my favourite ever.
Yeah. I'm going to read it again.
Read it again, please.
Arsenal fans are delusional and obnoxious. So that's them ruled out.
Factual and it's beautiful.
I'd rather City win the league as they have no fans. And we can asterisk it as another cheated league when they get charged. He's just... completely got the equation. Do you know when Einstein was going E equals MC? What is it? E equals MC, little 2 above it.
Yeah. Yep.
He's summed up this league perfectly. I agree with Danny.
That is Einstein theory of relativity in a super chat. Well done, son.
Perfect. And Billy Cook says, the thing that annoys me about all of this is the fans watching on TV and get a correct decision in seconds, but the pro refs can't get one right in 4 to 5 minutes. That is the thing that I don't get. Because it's not like you go, the Guardian Journalism's Detective Edition has looked back at old footage and we've seen this new footage from 12 games ago showing that this might be offside. We're seeing it immediately and going, no, you've got this wrong. It's not like it takes based on our deep dive calculations, we can tell you that this is offside. We're watching it in real time going, they've made a mistake here. How are they getting this wrong? like it's a good point that because it's not like it's.
Would you get rid of VAR?
Yes.
I think it's time
Immediately.
to say this isn't working.
It's not helped anything.
No, it hasn't, and it's ruining my experience as not just at the game, sat here or at home.
Yeah.
Like you're cheering for goals,
Yeah.
and then there's part of me. I mean, against Leeds it was different because I just lost my mind and I was doing eight Leeds. But some goals you're holding back a bit because you're thinking, is that?
Yeah.
And then it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
And Steve made a great point before VAR came in, or certainly around the time it was coming in. Made a prediction that I think has come true. He said that in rugby league they've got VAR, and what it lends itself to is referees not giving decisions.
Yeah.
Because they know they've got the safety net of if I make a big fuck up, they'll overturn it for me. But what that means is because the supposed sort of benchmark is clear and obvious error.
Yeah.
The referees are going, I won't do anything because the ref. So now to overturn stuff like United get so few penalties now compared to what we used to get.
Yeah.
Because players know how to defend around VAR.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is not batter someone. If the ref doesn't give it, which they tend not to now because they know they'll look worse if they give it and get it wrong than if they don't give it and get it wrong.
Yeah.
They don't give it, and then to overturn a non-given penalty has to be more than a penalty.
Yeah.
So the criteria has just become nonsensical.
Did you see Grealish's penalty?
No.
Yeah, I thought it was very soft. And it was weird because I was like, really? Is that a penalty?
Yeah.
And then Gary Neville, and I think it was Gary Neville on comms, was like, yeah, he's bought that, he's done well there. I think it's Gary Neville and Roy Keane. He's been clever there, and he's got a penalty. And I thought, he just looked to me like he trips himself up.
And also, aren't we in the era of you can't buy a penalty anymore?
Yeah.
You can't do well there and get a penalty because people are looking at it. What's the point? Honestly, I preferred the old mistakes to these mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I much prefer that.
Football is a hobby, it's a release, it's enjoyable, it's the highs and the lows. You want to celebrate, you want to feel that moment, and it's just taking it away from you. It's causing controversy when we didn't need it.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't sat here, me and you, when we started this channel. No, that was post VAR, but when we started watching football, whatever, or 10 years ago, whenever you're watching football, I don't think anyone was going, we need more controversy.
No.
I didn't. You imagine 99, and you're going, Sheringham gets his goal, now we're just going to analyse it for the next 5 minutes. And then the momentum's gone. Ollie probably doesn't get the winner. It's just like, that was my main worry. And that is what's come to pass. It's taking too long. Yeah. It's killing celebrations. And it's creating all this nonsense where we're sat here on a Monday and it's like the referees have got to have a meeting because they've all been crap all weekend and VAR hasn't helped.
And some of the great moments in football history are mistakes and errors.
Or even unknowns.
Yeah.
Like the ball over the line in the 66.
Yeah,
like,
and think, Maradona...
I know obviously we've got Hawkeye now, but you get my point.
A large part of Maradona's legacy is based on 1986, based on that World Cup win. That World Cup win doesn't happen if VAR exists. It literally, that goal is ruled out. He's sent off. And England probably win the semi-final. Like, obviously I would like England to have won that World Cup, but you think, like, this is one of the greatest players of all time. Yeah. His legacy would be cut in half if VAR existed. I don't need that. No. I'm happy to not every goal be perfectly by the rules. I'm happy for some goals to be cheating. I'm happy for, I mean, I wouldn't say this if I was Irish, I'm sure, but Thierry Henry's little handball. I like that stuff like that exists because it's horrible and you talk about it and people get irate and joyous and it's sneaky and horrible and shitty. I don't want everything to be perfect goal, incorrect, rubbish.
It feels like football doesn't lend itself to that sort of stop-start nature.
No, it works in tennis, in cricket, in American football, where it is a turn-based game by its definition.
Yeah.
Football is not a turn-based game.
It's momentum, it's quick, it's, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
That's why we lose our minds when people waste time.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you've got the perfect thing to waste time. In the Leeds game, you had 8 minutes at the end of the first half. No. Now, I know there was a couple of injuries, so that added to it, but VAR is just... it's causing so many problems that you look at it and you go, is this worth it?
Bin it.
And also, if no one's got VAR, then no one's got the advantage of it or disadvantage of it. It's a level playing field.
And also, let's pay refs more. Let's make refs better.
Yeah.
And let's remove the need for VAR. Let's make it so that instead of the refs being wrong, let's just as a guess, 2% of the time or 5% of the time, we train them better, there's better protocols, there's better people wanting to go into refereeing, because at the minute, I know you get decent money, but it's probably not worth all the
I agree with that. I think you should pay them more. And also, they started bringing in a new rule as well, I think, to try and offer the refs a bit more protection. Get involved in the comments if I'm wrong, but I saw it, I watched the City game yesterday, and it was I think if a ref gets surrounded, the third person that goes to him gets booked.
What's that?
So, like...
I don't like that.
Yeah, because someone got booked. I think it was Rodri for City. Like, Gundogan and Grealish or whoever surrounded the ref. And he went over there. When he got there, the referee just booked him straight away.
Oh, yeah, 2 people are allowed to kick made in, but if it's a third...
And Gary Neville was making a point of, well, shouldn't it be the first person that goes to him? Why is it the third? It was just... It seems a bit of a weird one.
That's just shit and stupid.
I do feel with referees as well, we have to get a better standard. And I think you're right. People are against giving them more money, but you should do, because it's such an important part of the game.
Yeah.
Pay them more, because we have this thing where we'll have a ref, and if a referee's rubbish, he'll get demoted.
Yeah.
Like, he'll go in the Championship, which is probably arguably the most important league, because getting promoted or relegated from the Championship can define whether your club continues to exist in some cases.
Yeah.
That can be the difference between existing as a football club and going under.
Yeah.
So it matters. And when you go, oh, he's been rubbish in the Premier League, we're going to demote him to the Championship. I've never understood that. No. That's like a pilot crashing planes and going, well, or a surgeon who's terrible at surgery, we'll send him to a smaller hospital.
Yeah.
We'll take him out of MRI and we'll put him in Old Hospital in Salford.
Yeah. Just work on old people
instead. He's not good enough for his job. He's not good enough for it. Go and get him trained and do something like that. Not just demote him to a league that still counts. So they need to get more referees in, give them more money, give them better training. If they're not good enough, take them away. Go and retrain them or just sack them if they're not up to it.
Yeah.
But don't have this thing of like, we'll just have this pool of referees who aren't very good and we'll just demote and promote them every time they do a bit of a stinker.
Yeah. The paying them more thing, to me, is the only obvious way.
I get it.
Because, yes, like, you can say what you want, it's ref, but they are a absolutely crucial part of football. They not more often than not, but regularly decide games, are more influential in any given game than any given player on a pitch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you imagine the game yesterday, not the Brentford game, the Arsenal game, I would say that referee was more important than probably you put your hand in a ball of the players, pull a name out. The ref probably did more to influence in that game than X player from Brentford or Arsenal did. So how are they getting paid a thousandth of what a footballer gets paid? The others are got the talent, I get it, and they're not being paid by a club. But I don't think at the minute it's worth the grief and the hassle and the sort of stigma around being a ref.
I've done it
to be one. And also, the other thing to remember is people say, oh, they get paid $40. I think it's like 40 grand, 50 grand plus a grand a game, or 30 grand plus a grand a game. So they can get 70, 80, 90 grand a year. Amazing money. I'm not saying it's not. But when you think, that's the Premier League refs. Most refs who are refs are part-time, working their way up, doing five-a-side, doing Sunday
League. I did
five-a-side
as a standard.
Doing Conference North, doing Manchester leagues, earning fuck all, trying to get their hours in, trying to get practice, trying to decide whether they like it. And the payoff, if you go through all of that, maybe getting beaten up, getting your tyres, it can be awful for refs. The payoff for that is, well, I get paid good money, but I get slagged off every single week. They need to be paid big money.
We did a thing when I used to work in radio where a lad called Ryan, who was a young lad, he was only about 18, he was a ref, and he organised a sort of strike amongst the non-league refs because of the abuse he getting. Threatened. I think he got headbutted. He was only a small little kid, and he got headbutted by, I think he was refereeing a youngsters game, and one of the dads came on the pitch and headbutted him. And it's not worth it. So give them more money, get a better standard, give them more training, invest more in the referees, and just get rid of VAR. That's my suggestion.
And for we've come to terms with the fact that footballers earn these life-changing amounts every single week, and somehow that's been normalised. 150, 200, 300 grand a week is sort of normalised, and yet the idea of a ref getting, $2 grand a week or $3 grand a week seems ludicrous.
Yeah,
whereas really they need to be paid a lot of money, big money, to be one of the most influential people on a pitch on any given football match. They should be paid better, and you'll get better refs as a result. Anyway, that's going to be all from us. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got loads coming up this week, obviously. We've got previews. We've got the watch-along for the Barcelona game. Massive game, that. You're a lucky, lucky boy getting to go to that.
Maybe I get a ticket first, otherwise I'll be unlucky.
Yes, yeah. Let's get rid of VAR. Let's stop criticising teenagers unfairly, slagging people off for no reason. let's just watch and enjoy football, shall we?
Let's do that. Why
Let's
not?
just keep watching Manchester United win games. Thank you very much for joining us. Hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you, Jay, for coming on. Make sure you check out the Scotty and Motty podcast.
I think we're live later on, actually.
Live later tonight, so go and check that out. My name is Joe. Make sure you check out the Sloppy Joe's podcast as well. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in a bit.